Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Leslie from the Office of Entrepreneurship Development from Republic Poly. I would like to welcome our RP, our Trendlines, ESG colleagues, industry partners, students and alumni, as well as participating teams to our inaugural Trendlines RP Agri-Food Demo Day. We are very thankful to be able to collaborate with Trendlines Agri-Food Innovation Center to organize our inaugural Agri-Food Demo Day as a finale to our 5-month-long Trendlines RP Agri-Food Incubation Program. We'd like to acknowledge the attendees who are with us on Zoom today, and also to appreciate the 6 participating teams for the many months of their hard work as they prepare for their business pitches in a moment's time. Without further ado, I would like to pass the time over to my Trendlines colleague, Keith, who will bring us through the proceedings for this evening. Keith, over to you, please.
Thanks, Leslie. You know what, esteemed guests, dear panelists, and fellow presenters today, welcome to the Trendlines RP Agri-Food Demo Day. As Leslie mentioned, my name is Keith, and I'm the Deal Flow Manager for the Trendlines Agri-Food Innovation Center. I also happen to be the moderator for today's event. The inaugural run of the Trendlines RP Agri-Food Innovation Program has finally reached its climax. This demo day is really the culmination of months of hard work from both the organizers as well as the participants. And believe me, when I say hard work, I think you must realize that this demo day was not only for students of RP, but it was also a program that we organized for alumni of RP. So this is really an event where some of the participants had day jobs, but they were also participating in this program. So this is something that took up a lot of everyone's time. But I think that you will see that we have come a very long way, and there's a lot of things that for us to be proud of. When Trendlines and RP first started, when we first sat down to discuss what we wanted to get out of this program, we really wanted to make a stand for excellence and unconditional entrepreneurship. What we didn't want faint-heartedness and averageness. And to take a plunge and be an entrepreneur is already a very scary thing for many people. But to do so during a pandemic, it really takes a certain amount of crazy in a person to want to do that sort of thing. And I think today we're here to see and celebrate 6 startups, 6 up-and-coming startups that have taken this plunge and have come a very long way since the beginning of this program. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Leslie Chua, Senior Director, Student Services, as well as the Director for the Office of Student Support in Republic Poly, to give his opening comments. Mr. Ashley Chua also oversees the Students and Graduate Services, Corporate Communications, International Relations, and Entrepreneurship Development Departments in Republic Poly. Mr. Ashley Chua, please.
Thanks, Keith. Good evening to all our participants. More importantly, Dr. Nitza and Anton, my friend from Trendlines, Eugene from Enterprise Singapore, and our many colleagues from RP as well who are here with us, as well as all the Trendline colleagues. Thank you for being part of this evening's culmination of the Trendlines RP Agri-Food Innovation Program, right? So this demo day is that final culmination, like what Keith mentioned. Many months of hard work leading to this final endpoint, but again, this is really not the end, and I'll explain why later. Okay, so this program is actually part of RP's efforts to actually grow the agri-food startup ecosystem in Singapore. It's very important. Keith mentioned just now about how crazy it must be to set up a business during the pandemic, but actually, I tell you, crazy but smart, because this is the right time to do it. We see the challenges that we face when it comes to food security, and we know solving the problem, particularly in agri-food, will help address many of the challenges that we face in today's pandemic and post-pandemic environment, right? So this particular program is targeted at startups and pre-startups teams from the agri-food sector. Is the first of its kind between RP and Trendlines Agri-Food Innovation Center, right? Like what Keith mentioned, this is the first run, and it has worked well, and we believe that there'll be many more of such runs in the future. So as the finale, which we first started out in June, our participants had plenty of opportunities to work on many different things, right? They gained a lot of insights on the agri-food startup ecosystem by engaging in weekly startup workshops that were run by Trendlines and RP on various topics that were very important, right? Whether it's business model canvassing or business pitching, right? And they also engaged guest speakers from the agri-food sector and include the huge range of different startup founders, right? Whether it's Insecta, Urban Tiller, and as well as the venture capitalists that we had with us, right? HBlue and VVNP. Apart from this, they drew on the market access and extensive network that Trendlines had through the fortnightly mentorship sessions that was conducted. This helped them, our startups and pre-startup teams, to actually grow and mature over time. So leveraging on this was also the knowledge and the R&D expertise that RP had in the various areas of alternative proteins, plant science, feed formulation, and nutrition management. So it's a whole ecosystem effort, right, from both the technology and the skills perspective. So, but after this program, it's not the end, like what I mentioned, right? Beyond this, participants will also have opportunities to deepen their skill sets in areas such as agri-tech related part-time programs, whether it's in the diploma level or short course level, agri-tech, in urban agri-tech, right? And those programs are very popular in RP. So I encourage our participants to sign up for these programs. Bunwa is here with us, and his school is the one that drives many of these programs. Beyond this, there's also the opportunity for startups to advance to and participants to advance to the Trendlines 3i program, right? And to also look for other funding opportunities that might include ESG's Startup SG Founders Program grant, that's actually together with ESG and the Ministry of Sustainability and Environment's SG Eco Fund, right? So these are opportunities where our participants can begin to secure funding. So to close, I wanted to thank all our participants, right, for your involvement in this particular program. I think you found it useful. We've also found it useful, and I think there are many opportunities for us to continue to grow. And I wanted to also use the opportunity to thank Trendlines, right, for your support and partnership in making this program possible and successful, as well as ESG as our third other important partner in this collaboration. So with that, thank you very much, and I trust you'll have a very good evening. Right, Keith, over to you.
Thanks, Ashley. Next, we would like to invite Dr. Nita Kaddish. Dr. Nita Kaddish is the CEO of the Trendlines Agri-Food Fund and the Vice Chair of the Trendlines Agri-Food Innovation Center. She's widely regarded as a trailblazer in Israel's agri-tech investment community. Nita, please.
Thank you very much, Keith. I'm very, very happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. Hi, everyone. A very good day to you all. And congratulations to the teams that are presenting today. Trendlines is really honored to have collaborated with the Republic Polytechnic in organizing incubation program for Singapore agri-food entrepreneurs. This program is an integral part of our commitment in contributing to the development of the agri-food tech startups ecosystem in Singapore. We truly believe that being an entrepreneur, and I can say that also from my private experience as well, many, many years ago, is not an easy journey, and many times it's a lonely one. But it can be a very rewarding journey that brings positive impacts to the world, not only to our personal needs. And for that, I would like to now applaud the entrepreneurs who are here with us today for their resilience in believing their ideas and are committed to see their ideas materialize. This is the point. So as you heard before, my name is Nitza Kaddish, and I'm the Vice Chair of Trendlines Agri-Food Innovation Center, in short, AFIC. AFIC is a subsidiary of the Trendlines Group. AFIC is an incubator and also the manager of Trendlines Agri-Food Fund, which invests in exciting agri-food tech startups from early stage to later stage. Tapping on our group experience as the most active early stage agri-food investors in Israel, we would like to identify, support, and develop Singapore startups to be global players across the value chain of agri-food sector. And to achieve that goal, we believe that it is crucial to advocate partnership. We are thankful to have the great opportunity to work together with partners such as Republic Polytechnic, or as you said, RP, and Enterprise Singapore, or ESG. And as the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. We believe that it also takes at least the ecosystem to build a successful startups. So once again, congratulations to the entrepreneurs. Bravo. You are today's stars, and I wish you a very best in your pitch. I want to thank very much Keith and Anton for their hard work and very professional one. Without you and our partners, we won't have this exciting day and moment. Thank you very much, and good luck, everyone.
Thank you, Nita. Thank you for your kind words. So without further ado, we're going to go straight into what you guys all came for today, right? And that's really the pitching competition. Today's format is very straightforward. We have 6 companies that are pitching. Everyone will have 10 minutes to present, and then there will be 5 minutes of Q&A by the panel. However, if you're an audience, you're able to type your questions into the Q&A tab, okay? I know by now most of us are familiar with how to use Zoom, but if this is your first time using the Zoom webinar platform, you will actually find that there is a Q&A segment at the bottom, all right? This is different from your chat function, right? So if you have a question, you can actually type it into the Q&A section. And as the moderator, I will ask some of these questions on your behalf. If I do not cover the questions, the startups will be able to go into the exact same tab and type in their answers after their presentation, all right? So don't feel offended if I didn't choose your question. Sometimes it's just a matter of timing and whichever one comes first, all right? So before we begin, I really like to introduce our judging panel for today. We have a very esteemed judging panel from many different sectors. I think the 3 panelists that we have today really represent the ecosystem that we want to build. We want to have someone from the academic, helping us with regulations. We have someone from the government. And lastly, we have the advisor who comes from a commercial background. So Dr. Lim Boon Wat is the director, School of Applied Sciences in Republic Poly. The School of Applied Sciences spearheads RP's efforts in the agri-food sector. And this includes a variety, of programs, including the CET program, which is a continuing education and training program. He's also in charge of engaging industry partners on research and consultancy projects, as well as managing RP's key agri-food related facilities, such as the Agri-Food Research and Innovation Center. Next, we have Mr. Eugene To. Mr. Eugene To is the director of the Agri-Food Division and the Global Markets Director of Northeast Asia and Oceania in Enterprise Singapore. The Agri-Food Division works with agriculture companies in Singapore to build capabilities, innovation, and to help companies internationalize. It's really to help Singapore build and develop a vibrant agri-tech startup ecosystem in Singapore. Last but not least, we have Mr. Anton Mibow. Anton is the CEO of the Trendlines Agri-Food Innovation Center, and he brings with him over 10 years of business management and investment experience in Singapore's biotech as well as agriculture business community. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce all 3 judges to turn on your cameras. All right, and we would like to invite our first company to start. The first company that we have is Ultimate Nutrition. All right, Gabriel, over to you.
Hello, testing. Can everybody hear us?
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, great. All right, so good evening, everyone. We are the co-founders of Ultimate Nutrition. We are Singapore's first ever startup, converting insects into edible food for humans. Through our insect food products, we aim to tackle social issues like climate change and food insecurity. So by 2050, the Earth population is projected to grow to 10 billion. More people means more food demand, causing the need for more livestock, which creates more environmental problems. Thus, there is a need for alternative proteins to better strengthen our food security. So here's a question for everyone. What does the food of the future look like to you? If you guess insects, you're right. Here at Ultimate Nutrition, we aim to make eating insect protein the new normal by integrating this sustainable eco-friendly protein with familiar food products like protein bars. Through hours of R&D and our proprietary food technologies, we have formulated Singapore's first ever cricket protein bars that are tasty, nutritious, and sustainable. The best part, our products are all natural and made without preservatives. Next. So we believe that insects are the superfoods of the future. They contain the same quality protein as meat. They also contain essential micronutrients like vitamin B12 and iron. By using crickets instead of beef, we can save up to 2 tons of feed, 700,000 liters of water, and greenhouse gases equivalent to a road trip all around the world. Next. So if we look more specifically at the nutritional attributes, we can see how insects like crickets are superior in terms of these important nutrients that we require daily. For example, you can see that our crickets are much higher in protein, calcium, and vitamin B12. So this shows that crickets are indeed posed as a great alternative protein source that could be a solution for the increased population and food demand. Next slide. So moving on to our crickets, I think one of the main concerns that we get from a lot of people are like that they wonder where our crickets come from. Are they safe? You know, do we catch them or things like that? But that's not true. So in fact, we take these factors into a heavy consideration, especially safety and cleanliness of our crickets, so that our crickets are actually GMP, HACCP, and the first and the only halal certified crickets in Thailand. Our crickets are also sustainably farmed, which ties with our overall goal of producing sustainable food products. Next slide. So our business model is straightforward. We have a B2C model through our e-commerce store and also a B2B model to strategic companies that resonate with our core. We aim to target youth concerned about nutrition and people who are conscious about sustainable eating. Next.
Now, everyone must be wondering how big is the market opportunity for such a novel product. Well, this market has projected a 47% CAGR over the span of the next 10 years, while the market grows from 100 million to 1 billion in 2026. This not only shows that there is a growth in demand, but a change in the population's perception towards novel and conventional products. Next slide. Now, to put that into perspective, we are not the first in the world to embark on this project. However, we are one of the first few in Southeast Asia to do so. With that being said, here's a competitive landscape of all the products that are already commercialized compared to ours. As shown in the table, we have a lower product cost compared to other brands based off the value of our products that we bring to our customers. Our products contain a protein content higher than other brands made of protein bars or made of cricket flour, and on top of that, its protein content is high enough to be a competitive contender against widely consumed animal-based protein bars. In addition, our products is also high in dietary fiber and tastes way better than other brands. Lastly, we are working on making our products accessible for purchase across the world without having to pay for ridiculous shipping costs. Next slide. Now, you guys may be curious, what other values do we add to our products that gives us a competitive edge? Well, with our expertise in food science and research, our skills allows us to recreate iconic flavors in our protein bars without having to compromise on the nutritional factor or majority dietary restrictions. Through our strategic partnerships, we have been able to oversee the production of our products from farm to fork, ensuring that every aspect conducted is ethical and acceptable for consumers. Lastly, our raw ingredient also contains a higher protein content than others found in the market right now, which falls around 65% of protein based off 100-gram flour. This goes to show the extensive capabilities of Ultimate Nutrition and its value compared to industry standards. Next slide. As of today, we have come very far from when we ended our incubation with Republic Polytechnic in 2020. We have continued to actively work on our products to improve the nutritional, appearance, and flavor aspects while working closely with companies like ALS Singapore and Chemin Food Tech last year to conduct microbiological tests and nutritional testing, ensuring that our products are safe for consumers. Simultaneously, we have also been working closely with SFA Singapore from the start of the year to pursue the license to sell our products in Singapore. As of now, we are working closely with industry experts and companies such as A-Star, Trendlines, and Innovate 360 Singapore to gain support and advice on how we can continue to grow and scale our business and company. At the start of next year, we will be working with Hafnium Halfway leading our seed round fundraiser before we move into establishing our distribution channels abroad and developing other new products towards the end of next year. Our goal by the end of the 2 years will be to pilot our own automated insect farm in Southeast Asia. Next slide. Now, as of today, our innovation have caught the attention of many media platforms, while we have also received numerous orders from renowned institutions and like-minded companies. Next slide. To end off, we have a wonderful team that complements one another with the support of experienced industry partners. Our team has come this far, and with your help, we can build a more sustainable future through what we eat. To end this off, the CEO of Pepsi, Indra Nooyi, once said that the food of the future will be insects, and it's a matter of when and not how. With that, I thank you all for your kind attention, and I will be now open to questions from the floor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, maybe I'll start first. I think great job. I really like your presentation. Obviously, with crickets, I think consumers might be concerned about food safety issues. So how would you address such issues or concern, especially with regards to, say, potential allergies or even like pathogen contamination?
Yes, that is a very good question. Thank you so much for that. So basically, before we actually make our product available to the public, we actually go through rounds and rounds of lab testing. We do microbiological testing and then we also have basic hygiene reports from our source, from where our crickets are sourced from. So this ensures that the hygiene issue is not to be worried by the consumers, and the food, basically the food safety standards are guaranteed, and that the microbiological test pass all the requirements needed before it can be sold to consumers. And on top of that, because Gabriel and I both have a background in biotechnology, so we are aware of the consumer standards as to how these products, whether they are able to be consumed by consumers or not, and what the industry standards are. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All the best.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Ultimate Team. I love the flavors, especially the peanut butter one.
Thank you.
My question to you will be, what is your expansion plans in terms of the consumer segments? Do you start off in Singapore, or what is your game plan?
That is a very good question. So right now in Southeast Asia, based on our market research, there's not many companies that actually made the move of making cricket flour into a human food for consumption. So what we are doing is actually very novel, and we are using Singapore as a testing ground for our product to gain customer validation before we proceed to move overseas, like in countries like Thailand, where there's better consumer perception towards these products because they consume it on a daily basis. It's like a staple food for them, where the consumers prefer, like, oh, they don't mind trying this because it's already something they've been eating all along. So we believe that having to establish our presence, our brand overseas before coming back to Singapore would be a better plan, because that will be a more valid way of testing the market than to spend the resources to raise awareness of our presence in the market and create it in Singapore. Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully
right.
that answers your question.
Yeah. Just to add on just a small point to John. Yeah, so indeed we're using Singapore just as an R&D and a testing hub. Because of the current restrictions by the SFA, we still cannot commercialize here yet. But I think that one of the main benefit of having Singapore as our test bed is that especially for fast-moving consumer goods, I think that if we are targeting Southeast Asia, I think having Singapore would be a good it adds to the prestige of our product, especially if we're moving to countries like Malaysia and Thailand. So that's kind of our strategy in what we're doing, as in doing an R&D in Singapore first before we branch out to these neighboring countries to do our manufacturing and scaling there.
Yes.
Thanks. I'll also be curious to hear about your game plan for your regulatory approvals. Do you have to go through each country's competent authorities approval? And if so, what is your thoughts and plan for that?
Yes. Gabriel, you want to answer?
Yeah, sure. So in terms of approval, I think Singapore Food Agency I think Singapore in general is one of the more stricter countries in terms of regulation. So things like insect and cell-based food products in general have to be highly regulated by FFA. But other countries like Europe, right? I think they're a bit more flexible. So Europe, they have their own community that's controlling food product. I think it's called IPFF or something. And recently they just announced the approval of even grasshoppers for human food consumption. So it's kind of we can see that it's much more flexible in Europe, and they're much more open. In fact, like in Europe, there's one section in the supermarket that specifically is given to insect food products. So in terms of other countries, it's a bit more flexible. So we probably just have to fill in some documentation and let them know like where the source of our crickets, what do we feed them and things like that. So it's a bit then we would be able to proceed with the approval. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, and if I may add on to that, based on the expansion plan, so we also do have strategic partners in countries like Thailand and Europe that we're working very closely with to basically bring and ship our products overseas as a form of our sales channels. So with that comes the approval as well, because these guys that we're working with do have the expertise and the connection to get us the approval for us to be able to sell our products in those countries as well. Yeah, right. Thank you.
Thanks, John and Gabriel. Mine is a quick one. So before you have your own farm, which is in your plan, how do you secure the supply of your material, and what do you do to from the perspective of QC of the ingredients?
Okay, so basically currently the procurement of all ingredients is directly based on each supplier that based on the specific ingredients. As for the important, most crucial one, which is the cricket flour, we're working with a cricket flour in Thailand that actually has one of the better quality cricket flours in the whole of Southeast Asia. And in addition to that, they are one of the few that only has the halal certification that is provided by, I think, the Hong Kong community, if I'm not wrong. So basically, before we work and choose the suppliers that we work with, we will look through their cricket products and to see, like as Gabriel mentioned earlier, whether they have the certification, the good safety practices, HACCP, GAP, all that certifications to ensure that what we are using is reliable and safe for consumers before we move into the next phase to incorporate our recipe into making the finalized cricket protein bars. And then secondary checks wise, we will be conducting another round of safety checks in Singapore, like I mentioned earlier, the lab testings, so on and so forth, to be conducted before we actually release to the market. So if anything happens before it reaches the consumers, or we will be able to be notified, or maybe this is not up to industrial standards for consumers, and then we will basically rectify the problem from there. Yeah.
All right, thank you everyone. In the interest of time, I will not be asking the questions from the crowd, but Gabriel and John, you guys can go in the Q&A tab and you guys can type answers to them. All right.
All right.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.
You.
I'd like to invite Yuvanesh from AIFS. Yuvanesh?
Thanks, Keith. Just give me a sec to share the screen. Okay. You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. A good evening to everyone. My name is Yuvanesh, and I'm the co-founder of Asia Insect Farm Solutions, or AIFS for short. And our company was established with the mission of offering quality protein for a sustainable future. And we're doing this through wholesome foods, science-backed nutrition, and sustainability. So there are quite a few challenges that we face as humanity on a global level, but as a company, we want to focus on one thing, and that's food security. And the reason for that is that urban countries like Singapore needs more sustainable sources of food to be self-reliant. And on a global level, with an increasing population, we need more sustainable alternatives to alternative proteins to meet the increasing demand. I'm not going to bore you with the numbers. I think Gabriel did a really good job covering them earlier, and a lot of it is actually available online. So, happy to answer that privately on a separate channel. Now, our solution to addressing food security is cricket powder, right? One of the first companies set up in Singapore, dealing with edible insects, and our product has about 70% protein for every 100 grams. So it's extremely high in protein. It also has essential vitamins and minerals such as magnesium, iron, and vitamin B12. And it's a very suitable alternative for protein to meet the growing demand of a Singapore population. But so here's the thing that everybody always asks me. As great as edible insect sounds on paper, great numbers for nutrition. How do you overcome the yuck factor? Because people have this, negative association or connotation with insects, and it's something that's very difficult and challenging to overcome. And one way that we have done this is actually to offer our products in a powder form. So for people who want to try new products, it's very important that a product is great tasting. It's something that looks good and it's healthy. And our cricket powder is actually nutrient dense. It's a very mild taste and aroma. So most people who try it say it's a bit nutty, tastes like pistachio or almonds, very mild flavor. It's got no chemicals, and because of its mild flavor, it's actually very functional and versatile in its application. It can be used in anything from baking to smoothies, shakes, as well as protein topper for your meals if you want to increase your protein content. It's also minimally processed, so there's no chemicals or antibiotics, and it's environmentally sustainable. Now, the second question that we always get asked is, what do I do with cricket powder? It's just an ingredient. How does the consumer use it? And so this is something we really realized later on in the business, as one of our learning lessons, is that we need to bridge the gap between the farms or the raw ingredient and the mass market, the consumers, because people want convenience. They want products that actually allow them to enjoy something on the go, something that's easy, maybe readily available in a packaging, like cookies or chips. So aside from our cricket powder product, we've also created a range of ready-to-eat snacks and food products to make it easier and more accessible for the market to actually purchase these products. This has also allowed us to bring down the cost of our products to something that's very comparable to similar offerings in the market. And when I say similar offerings, I wouldn't just mean edible insect products, but other products that use different kinds of ingredients. So the range of products that we have already developed, chocolate chip cookies, oatmeal raisin, and chocolate chip macadamia. We've also actually developed chips, a range of chips with seasonings and flavors. And we are also offering flour blends. It's actually what we found was a lot of Singaporeans who bought from us like baking, but they didn't like having to measure all the ratios and calculate their formulation for their baking products. So we're creating a all-purpose flour blend that allows them to save time and just add it right into their recipe for baking. So why now? It's actually a great time for edible insects. In the last few years, we've seen an increase in adoption of edible insect regulations across the world: Japan and Korea, Australia, USA, Africa, and EU. And then more importantly, food trends such as flexitarian diets, keto diets, low-waste food, and a preference for healthier choices are becoming more mainstream. So this is actually increased awareness of edible insects when people start searching or learning about alternatives to meet their dietary requirements. Interestingly, COVID-19 has also made us more aware of the need to explore all these food alternatives. Previously, we did not have to worry so much on a global level about food security. Only countries like Singapore had that issue. But right now, with supply chain and logistic issues all over the world and reduced productivity, this is something that people are starting to take notice of. Lastly, grant calls by A*STAR and SFA have showed that Singapore is following in the footsteps of all the other developed countries. There's increasing interest in edible insects. We're happy to see there are a few other companies as well that are entering this space within Singapore. And in our communications with SFA, we understand that regulations should be out if all things go well early next year. So market data for edible insects is actually quite limited because the market is small and it's only just in its infancy stages. But based on the data that we have, the global market in 2021 is actually about 0.7 billion, which is pretty good for something that is relatively new. And by 2025, we actually expect this to double up. So in about 4 years' time, the total market value is going to be about 1.5. And this is just the edible insect market, not the protein segment or high protein ingredients market that's a lot more bigger. We do have competitors. Most of the competitors are actually located overseas in the US and EU, with one major competitor, Ento, in Malaysia. But We've learned from their mistakes as well as their experiences. And what we found is that our unique selling point is that we're actually a trusted brand. We've been, since 2019, we've been featured on multiple media platforms, not just in Singapore, but overseas. We've got a very solid network of partnerships. We know nearly every producer, supplier, and even other partners individually, because we made the effort to fly down and meet them. And with us being in a hub of the potential or future alternative proteins in Southeast Asia, so Singapore is actually poised to be the hub for alternative proteins. I think we have very good access to support and resources to position ourselves as a trusted brand within the region. So our go-to-market strategy is to actually lay the foundation. We are undergoing a bit of rebranding because Asia Insect Farm Solutions, it's a much more B2B name. So we're actually creating a brand name to push out our B2C products. We are doing a bit more market research because again, COVID has really changed the way a lot of things are being done, and we want to really keep ourselves up to date and understand where the market is going post-COVID from next year onwards. We are still establishing partnerships, and we have quite a number of existing customers that we are supporting on a monthly to yearly basis. Again, we expect SFA approval to come in early next year. And if not, we will still continue to do our activities with all our overseas customers. We also plan to do a Kickstarter campaign. We want to address this gap in the market knowledge, and we believe with Kickstarter campaigns or similar campaigns, we'll be able to collect valuable market as well as to identify the more successful products in our offering to focus on, as well as to make improvements to meet those customer requirements. We already started working with a few restaurants in Singapore, and we're looking to create localized dishes using edible insects. So in potentially when SFA gives the approval, we can see dishes like ban mian, wonton mee, that uses edible insect or cricket powder protein to create a more healthier but equally good tasting products that that we are familiar with. Maybe in June 2022, we're hoping to fundraise, and the purpose of our fundraising campaign is to strengthen our overseas presence. So we want to branch out outside of Singapore and our neighboring countries, and to reach out to the EU and the Western markets in time to come. So team is made out of two people, myself and my co-founder Ravi, and blessed to have mentors like John Cheng from Innovate 360. Massimo is one of the pioneers in edible insect industries, as well as the support of RP and many other organizations that have been there with us on our journey. Interestingly, we started our company doing farming. So we started out with wanting to farm edible insects, and we did that. We actually had a farm in Malaysia. In 2019, we realized that everyone was farming. Everyone wanted to get into the action of farming, but people were failing to address the market gap. And that is that there were not enough functional products that people could relate to. So a lot of the earlier products that were created in the Western markets were very focused on the health sector. So, products like, protein bars, shakes, which work well, but it only addressed that one small sector, and there was very little expansion and growth in those regions. So we wanted to tap into this opportunity to create products that were more relevant to the everyday person, because people don't always, want to consume health products for their gym activities. The normal person like me, likes to eat chips, cookies, snacks while watching movies, or even just something that I can have on a daily basis. So understanding these customer needs, we completely pivoted away from farming. But retaining that knowledge and the experience, we learned how to create products and understood what kind of products were actually required by the market. And so we've actually created them, as you've seen earlier. And to continue that journey and to make that vision a reality, we're looking for support in launching a Kickstarter campaign. Marketing is not really our forte, so any marketing advice and support will be welcome. We're also interested in connecting with more local restaurants and companies to look at how we can create a more vibrant ecosystem for edible insects, in the terms of, again, creating food dishes or as well as new products, and continue R&D. We're also looking to connect with existing potential investors as well as global partners for overseas expansion. Right now, I believe we're the only company that's got approval from SFA to import cricket powder into Singapore legally and sell it for R&D purposes. So we still can't sell it for human consumption, but we can import and sell for R&D purposes. We should be getting approval through our partner for the UK market as well as EU. And we'll be looking to go into Japan and Korea in time to come as well. Thank you. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
All right. In the interest of time, we will take questions from Bunwat and Eugene. Anton, you can keep your questions till the next time you talk to Yuvanesh.
Okay, thank you, Yuvanesh. I think, yeah, very interesting presentation. I noted that you mentioned about having these edible insects in restaurants, right? I think that was part of the concept. I'm just wondering how to overcome this consumer perception. I think powder, okay, right? Maybe they will just be able to accept it, but having edible insect is probably not in our local culture. Yeah.
Great question, thank you. So I think to be more specific, we're looking at using cricket powder to create, more local food. So for example, the wonton mee that we eat, instead of the normal wonton mee, the way we make it normally, we can actually incorporate a bit of cricket powder to make it a more high protein noodle. Likewise, that can be done for laksas. Just an example, there's quite a few things that we have actually come out with. Pizza dough or pizza base is something that we worked with in a restaurant. Shangri-La Hotel, in the previous event, we actually created a Ferrero Rocher kind of dessert using cricket powder as the outer shell. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Yunesh. My question will be, I've seen a few work streams from fundraising to marketing to the R&D. In your next phase of expansion, where will you put your next dollar?
The next dollar we're going to be focusing on launching our products. So we already have completed product development for 2 different product lines, cookies and chips, as well as we have our cricket powder. But we want to actually push out and place more emphasis on these products that reach out to the consumer market. So that'll be where we'll be doing that, and we're starting off with Kickstarter campaign to get a more accurate sensing of where the interest lies with our demographics.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Yuvanesh. Yuvanesh, you have questions on the panel, on the Q&A panel, so feel free to answer those after you have finished your presentation.
Sure,
all right?
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. The next team that I would like to invite is, I would like to invite David from Biophilic to talk to you about his new fertilizer product.
Good evening, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your presentation is not in full screen yet.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. May I begin?
Yes, please.
Okay, good evening, distinguished guests, judges, family, and friends. My name is David Wu, founder and managing director of Biophilic Private Limited. Thank you for having me this evening as we present Biophilic's agri-food solution. My pitch today is Feeding Our Future. Agri-food value chain starts with creation. Biophilic is proudly a Singaporean startup in agribusiness and environmental engineering. We are committed to a net zero world and have set a target to offer useful, sustainable solutions to innovate low carbon energy products and services. We strive to improve the agri-food value chain. Let's take a closer look. The problems. 70% of agri farmlands are damaged by excessive chemical fertilizer such as ammonium nitrate, DAP, and MAP. 40% of global crop yields are lost each season due to pests, insects, and disease outbreak. Global population will increase by 2030, adding another 1.2 billion population to feed. Our solution, introducing Biophilic Aqueous Organic Fertilizer. Aqueous means pristine, reliable, well-balanced, a semblance for ecological and humanity. Its performance is superior, greener than most organic fertilizer, boosting yield more than 1.5 times, 20 times richer in minerals and nutrients. 70% savings in water usage and promotes biodiversity. Well, this is based on our novel lacto technology with 4 key features delicately crafted. The best parts, 5 types of unique lactobacillus strains to boost immunity for the soil and plant health and wellness. Able to fix atmospheric carbon by 20 kg per hectares per annum. Specially sourced poultry manure, free from antibiotic, free from artificial growth promoters. And it is compliant to European and UK organic fertilizer standards. Why choose Aqueous? We have a comparison of chemical, unfermented, and aqueous organic fertilizer. Now, my focus today will be on biophilic aqueous organic fertilizer as the best in Asia Pacific due to the low NPK ratio of 3:2:1.5 that is aligning to the world organic fertilizer standards. 22 different essential macro and micronutrients, contains active beneficial microbes that's alive. And it contains lactobacillus that can withstand high temperature, even up to 60 degrees Celsius. Zero antibiotics, zero artificial growth promoters. It helps remediate and rejuvenate soil environment, which aligns to ESG standards. Now, even the best part, the FOB price is very affordable, starts from US $650 per metric ton. Our next slide shows our test results against our competitors. Here, we measure the various types of fertilizer with same type of seeds grown to determine yield output, productivity, nutritious value, freshness, and lifespan of the vegetables. So, in fact, the vegetables can withstand the atmospheric temperature for longer than 7 days. Now, as you can see, our stringent test results confirm that it is 5 times more nutritious than normal vegetables and fruit. It is sweeter, healthier, with less insoluble fiber. Vegetables grown are easier for consumption. They are greener with higher antioxidant content as compared to our competitors. What are the potential markets and how we are growing the business? The available global market for fertilizer commodity is $70 billion as per 2021. Current organic fertilizer market demand is 6%. We are targeting 2% from the pie, and we have more room to grow. Biophilic is a great way to grow in the agri-food industry because we have assurance, superior quality, good value, nutritional needs, ESG compliant. Projecting our market forecast, we see a huge increase of adoption in both developing and developed countries on the capacity of organic fertilizer. Predicted business growth, poultry manure, bone meal, seaweed, insects. These are the top 4 in demand organic fertilizer, and we are the top range poultry manure, greener. This is our projected volume in the next 3 years, where Singapore and Asia potential looking at 30,000 metric ton per annum. Europe, Middle East, and Africa potential 20,000 metric ton per annum. And we are likely to have 85% of the potential client from APAC. Our predicted business growth. The market will be accelerating, growing at 6% per annum. Our current projected pipeline has grown to a portfolio of US $10 million for the upcoming work year 2022. Market segments are largely in plantations, namely rice, corns, tea, vegetables, fruits, horticulture, and landscaping. Our business model. We focus both B2B and B2C models. In B2B, we aim for government and diplomatic collaborations with private MNCs contacts. We are promoting channel and territory partners for distribution ship. In B2C, we will focus on enterprise optimization and e-commerce selling. The countries we are currently targeting are Sri Lanka, Philippines, Bhutan, United Arab of Emirates, Africa, Europe. For now, we are positioning ourselves in Portugal to establish territory partnerships. Ladies and gentlemen, Biophilic is raising 300,000 seed round via equity financing. The use of proceeds will go into hiring based on 1,000 paying customers and membership. enterprise optimization, marketing, and certifications based on 1 million after annual returns. Launching of new biomembrane packaging with the support from Trendlines Group by next year, second quarter 2022, with a MOQ of 100,000 units. Thank you so much for listening to our pitch. We are currently looking for investors who would like to grow with us. As you can see, we are poised for a major expansion. So if you're interested in growing with biophilic, please feel free to contact me. And lastly, I'd like to present our leadership team and board of advisors with wealth of experiences. My passion for greenery, safe and nutritious food puts me forward to start Biophilic Group. Thank you once again. Biophilic inspires better lives. Thank you.
All right, Eugene, maybe we'll start with you first. I think
Thanks. My question is, in the fertilizer space is dominated by the big players who not just supplies fertilizers to the farms, but they provide a suite of services, right? So as to make the farm sticky. How would you compete in that world, right? Because you're going to offer your fertilizers. Yes, it's a great product, but you're going to play against the big boys, right? And they're going to not just have the cash to outplay you, but they also have the suite of services. So what is your strategy for that?
Thank you. We have already developed various products ranging from biopest repellent to roots support membranes, and then to help the soil rejuvenation programs. So we have already a custom suite of products that already has been ongoing in Singapore for the number of years that we have started up. So in terms of providing our clients with a fertilizer to pest control, to remediation, and to technical support is already we have already put this in the position.
It's one follow-up question, but you're going to focus on this particular product, you're going to focus on a suite of products, because in your presentation, you're quite clear that your selling point was on fertilizers, right?
Definitely, fertilizer will be the key product, but as you are sharing, we cannot just only sell fertilizer, but of course, we have to complement it with our consultancy packages.
Thank you.
Thanks, David, for the presentation. Question for me is that, I mean, you mentioned about, the fact that your fertilizer has this lactobacillus strain. So how is that proprietary to you, or if it's not, then how do you protect that as your product?
Thank you, Anton. Currently, the strains are licensed to Biophilic, and we are growing to the next stage of developing our own proprietary fertilizer that will complement with microalgae. This will be our upcoming development.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have one question from the crowd. The question is, what differentiates the Aqueous lactobacillus-based fertilizer? There's some other brands out there that are already using microorganisms in their products.
Fabulous question. Now, lactobacillus-based fertilizer, first of all, what we differentiate will be through the fermentation process, aging process, and the amount of content of live lactobacillus that is able to be heat tolerated. So it is the key differentiation between our product versus others in the market. We can proudly be sure that we are one of the best in Asia Pacific.
And without further ado, we're really just going to kick it off very, very quickly, okay, with our next company. Not sure about you guys, but I'm personally a big fan of French food, and which is why this company is really exciting to me. So the next company I'd like to invite is a company called The Shell Company. Eric, over to you.
Hi everyone, good evening. As I'm going to share my screen, I'd just like to ask a quick question to the panelists and everyone here. Like, have you all eaten like escargots in a French restaurant or in a restaurant in Singapore before? If you have, just hit the raise hand button so that I can have a look. Yep, nice. Not many, yeah, not many. Okay, I'll start my screen share. Okay, great. Now everyone can hear me loud and clear. Okay, great. So good evening again. My name is Eric. Now, escargot is a French word for snail, and humans have consumed snails for centuries, and in many cultures and many parts of the world, actually, it is the part of the staple, such as in Vietnam. And as most of us know, in many parts of the world, right, it's considered a delicacy. So my partners and I recently incorporated the Shell Company with ACRA in a bid to start up as Singapore's very own urban escargot farm. At the Shell Company, we aim to improve food sustainability at the same time reduce food wastage in Singapore. More importantly, we aim to provide and supply fresher and better quality escargots in Singapore. Starting off with escargots, we hope to further develop our venture into an advanced urban farm for other shell livestock, such as clams and lobsters in time to come. Now, the issue of food security is a growing concern. And there is currently a global shortage of protein, and it's even more evident during this pandemic. When humans farm more meat, we inevitably take up more land and produce more greenhouse gases, making it an unsustainable practice. Secondly, food wastage has been on the uptrend, with approximately 167,000 tons of fruits and vegetables wasted in 2019. Thirdly, we do not have an escargot farm that supplies fresh escargots in Singapore. And do you know that most of the escargots that you eat in restaurants are canned, which means they come in a tin? And in fact, based on our survey with some restaurants in Singapore, we found out that more than 90% of restaurants selling canned escargots. We even found that one of the restaurants was importing and serving, in their words, wild-caught escargots to their customers. And that's actually a potential problem here. Because snails in the wild, they're host to parasites, including the red lungworm. And SFA is particularly concerned about it when realizing with them regarding importing breeder snails to kickstart our farm. So in an attempt to solve the problems, we propose to start urban farming of the snail genus Cornuaspersum in Singapore, utilizing a proprietary racks and pans modular system. So at planned phase 1 full capacity of 78 racks, we are able to yield 3,900 kg of escargots and approximately 1,400 kg of escargot caviar a year. Furthermore, snail farming produces far less greenhouse gases. In terms of sustainability, comparing pound for pound meat production, our system utilizes more than 80% less land and also 98% less carbon footprint than farming chickens. Furthermore, we can promote a circular economy by using not good enough for shelf fruits and vegetables as feeds to the snails. We are also planning to use eggshells and or animal bones as calcium supplements to the snails. Finally, as Singapore takes our food safety standards very, very seriously, escargots farmed in Singapore can provide a reliable source of ingredient that is traceable and safe for consumption. Now, with this system as shown in the drawn up, we can accommodate more livestock in a given area. The design allows self-cleaning and humidity control as shown in the left diagram, with a nozzle for humidification and a rinse system with wastewater drainage system. On the right shows a mock-up of the rack that is made out of 10 rows, each with 5 pans. The food tray will contain processed food waste derived from purchase from the supermarkets or wholesalers, and we will use to feed the snails to create protein. And why now and why us? The market for escargot consumption is growing worldwide. As Singapore has yet to have our own escargot farm, the potential for growth is tremendous. Moreover, escargot as a protein or meat source is environmentally friendlier than conventional meat sources such as beef, mutton, pork, or poultry. With a focus on alternative protein sources, the up-and-coming protein source seems to be from insects, as we have heard from our presenters earlier. However, our research shows that the receptivity of protein from insects is still low among Singapore population. Hence, we look towards something that has greater societal acceptance, such as escargots. Based on our research and design, we are able to produce more snails than conventional snail farms, further lowering the land use required. This will be beneficial for Singapore as we already have a limited area for land for food production. Also, demand for escargots has never been high in Singapore, which could explain why no one has started farming escargots in Singapore. However, with the increasing efforts from the Singapore government to promote alternative protein sources, this is a great time to introduce a food that has already been widely accepted in other parts of the world, which can be easily incorporated into our local cuisine. And based on our survey, we see a strong demand for escargot meat with increased receptivity if incorporated into our local cuisine. And with the escargot farm, we can further diversify our products to include snail caviar and snail secretion filtrate, also known as snail slime. Looking at the market sizing of the escargot industry in 2019, the worldwide escargot market is valued at $65.2 million, with snail caviar and snail secretion filtrate valued at $63.5 million and $6.3 billion, respectively. Locally, the 2019 escargot imports in Singapore are valued at only $149,000, with the regional reach and serviceable available market value at $10.26 million. Key findings from market survey conducted by our company on 530 Singapore residents show that while Singaporeans rarely consume escargots on a regular basis, majority of them are receptive to eating escargots, with over 90% of the participants on the survey who eat escargots indicating that they are willing to purchase escargots that are farmed locally in Singapore. Now, of those who indicated that they have not yet tried escargots, slightly over a quarter of them are willing to try, thus bringing the overall percentage of the participants in Singapore who are open to consuming escargots to approximately 80%. So for timeline, key milestones and targets, we plan to run a pilot in 2022 before scaling up. Yep, sorry about that. Yep, so in this slide, so we plan to run a pilot in 2022 before scaling up. And based on a sales target of 80% with average retail price of escargots at $1 Sing dollar a piece, snail caviar at $250 per 100 gram, and snail slime at approximately $1,000 per liter, our estimated monthly profit with a full capacity farm of that 78 racks that I've mentioned earlier to be approximately at $170,000. So our business model is based on a B2C concept, farm to table, direct to consumers, aiming to deliver the freshest snails possible to our consumers' home. Our business model also allows for provision of sustainable alternative meat option that has potential as an ingredient in a myriad of dishes in local and non-local cuisine. Our competitive advantage remains in being the first escargot farm with a proprietary modular setup, having differentiated products such as escargot caviar and snail slime, as well as the specific knowledge to farm escargot. At the same time, with appropriate SOPs in place, operations of the farm can achieve a structured process that is smooth running, giving our business a low barrier to exit. We have recently incorporated our business with ICRA under the name The Shell Company and have submitted our application to SG Eco Fund in a bid to obtain support for startup capital. To actualize the farm, we plan to secure an urban farming space for a pilot, likely at the JTC Launchpad, and thereafter apply for the biosecurity assurance agreement with SFA and NParks. Once approved, we will be able to import breeder snails from a farm in Greece. Further outreach will be made to collaborate with local supermarkets for procurement of not shell-worthy fruits and vegetables, and then possibly work with Republic Poly on the formulation of snail feeds using the procured fruits and vegetables. Come 2022, we plan to explore collaborations with culinary schools and develop recipes for escargots to be included in local cuisines. And in the late third quarter of 2022, we aim to obtain license for escargot sales in Singapore. As such, we are asking for $300,000 for investment to see us through the upscaling plans in the final quarter of 2022. Our team consists of myself, Jonathan, and Sifan. Now, together we form a strong, committed, and balanced team with relevant skill sets to the business. Thank you for your time and attention, and I will now open to the floor for questions and answers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eric. That was a very good presentation. I'm wondering, like, in terms of the escargot farming, right? How long does it take to be able to farm it, from eggs all the way to a escargot that you can actually sell to consumers? And then my second question is really about these risk mitigating measures, right, to prevent any disease outbreak. Because if it takes a long time, then if any disease, then it could potentially wipe out the whole farm. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Lim. I think for the first question regarding the timeline for the snail from egg growth, the timeline from egg to hatchling is about 10 to 12 weeks, right? Then further on, it will take about 3 more months to become an adult snail. So in a total of 6 months, we can have our first harvest. And because it's a structured system in terms of it is pen, and every pen is segregated, and they have no interaction between each other. So our containment can actually kind of contain whatever disease that has been, if there is any, contained to that particular rack or pen, and then we will probably discard the snails humanely.
I see. Okay, understand. Yeah, you probably can learn from the how they rear chicken, right? It's probably a very similar concept as well, just that yours is actually snails as escargot. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for that. My question was, in the slide where you showed the addressable market, you had the escargot, the caviar, and the filtrate, right?
Yes.
And the filtrate seems to be at the highest addressable market, but your business model focus on the first column. Obviously, I'm going to ask you why. Why not take the higher parts? Is it because of as a cost issue, or is it a knowledge or technical expertise issue?
Eugenia, thank you for the question. I think we have asked ourselves the same question because it is more profitable, right? But looking at how the farm works and how the process of farming works, the growth of the snail goes by hatch, juvenile, adult, and sales. But prior to sales, we derive the snail's line. So it is actually a process-based, how the farm actually runs. If we don't have the snail filtrate, actually it's fine. We still can farm the snails. But because it is an intermediary process that we can actually tap on, and just nice, it is more profitable than the snail meat itself. So we were thinking, why not? And also because I just want to touch on for the snail caviar, right? It is also a little bit more profitable than the snail meat. But when we look at population control for the farm, the snails actually lay more eggs than needed to have a full-scale farm. So why not use the snail caviar, the snail eggs, as another product? So it's just a by the way thing.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get the part why you're not going into the filtrate.
Okay. The filtrate, if we have the filtrate only, we probably will not be able to scale the farm into different products. First of all, our main one is definitely the snail itself. As we grow the snails, we have more snails. We can sell more snails. At the same time, we have more filtrate. It works both ways. It goes hand in hand. It's not just that there is this focus or that focus. We want to try to farm the snails first, and then we have a derivative of products from there.
Okay. Oh, just one frivolous question. You said your selling points to sell frozen Escargot, right? Frozen.
Frozen.
Must it be frozen? You can't sell fresh, is it? Because you're going to be here, right? You must as well.
Yeah. So we have
pitch it as fresh.
Yes, we had that chat with SFA a couple of months ago. They said no. They said you cannot sell fresh because if you sell fresh and something happens along the way of the logistic chain, the snail escape, it can become a pest in the ecosystem in Singapore because these snails are actually not native. And that is why we have to apply for the BSAA for the facility to contain the snails. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks. I learned something today.
So there's no chance of sashimi escargot, huh?
No.
But thanks, Eric, for your presentation. I think my question is an add-on to what Eugene asked. Whether it's the fresh, or whether it's the meat, or whether it's the caviar, whether it's the slime, is there any additional processing that needs to be done, or you harvest it, you freeze it, and then you sell it? How does it work?
Yeah, so there are two ways to do this. The first way is we have to definitely freeze them. So we harvest them, we flash freeze them to ensure freshness. Second one, we can actually get them into a hibernation mode, which means keep them under about 6 degrees Celsius. So between 0 to 6 degrees Celsius, they are actually hibernating. Then we boil them, and then we derive the meat, take them out, and then do it the French way. We put some butter, flavored butter in the shell, put the snail meat back into the shell, and then top it up with more butter and sell them as like what we find in the supermarkets now. So one is flavored and one is not flavored.
In the form of caviar and slime, how do you do that?
Yeah, for the caviar, there is only one way to do it, which is to do a cold pasteurization for the caviar and then tin it. So you can actually do flavored snail caviar as well by adding like herbs like thyme into it. For the snail slime, right, there are also two ways to do it. One is the raw form in liquid. The other one is the dried form in powder. So of course, the powdered form will be more compact. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, Eric. We'd now like to move on to the next presentation. I'd like to invite Michael from Trinity Eco, who will be presenting to you a software that he has developed.
Thank you very much. Yeah, can you see the presentation?
We can see your slides. Is your camera on, Michael?
Oh yes, the camera is on. Yeah, sorry. Hi everyone. So can we begin? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael. This is my co-founder, Aaron. So let's begin our presentation and our sustainability journey. So in Trinity Eco, we help companies to become sustainable, and it's because of the rising need for it. Recently, a lot of countries across the world has highlighted the need for mandatory climate disclosure to highlight the climate risk to their businesses. And the problem is that most companies, especially farmers, they can no longer ignore ESG, but they can't afford it because it's costly and complex to comply with sustainability standards, because they usually rely on consultants to do it manually for them and to manage the data that they collect from their businesses. Hence, it's very inefficient and time-consuming and expensive to do so. So the root problem at the end of the day is actually data, the lack of good quality data for them to make informed business decisions, especially in the agri-tech sector, in managing resources in their own organization. And when we talk to most of our clients, about 60% of them are not benefiting from the current sustainability initiative and systems. So what is companies currently doing right now is that they submit an annual sustainability report every year, but it does not offer much value because one is overpriced. It's about 5 to 6 figures worth of in terms of cost, but also it does not offer much value in providing recommendation or solutions for your business. So what we propose is a super platform that allows the investors and businesses to make sustainability practices much more simpler, affordable, and it adds value to the organization. So why us actually? Because compared to our competitors and to consultants, we provide a series of sustainability assessment that help them to evaluate where they are in the sustainability matrix, and to provide financing and collaboration opportunities in terms of technology adoption to carbon trading to actually generate the revenues they need to fund their sustainability initiative through the latest in machine learning and deep tech infrastructures that are built for them. And all this costs about $100 per month for them. So how do they use our platform is that they actually set up their account, which is simple and personalized according to the industry, because different industries require different standards, different tools as well. And it's very user-friendly to the extent where they don't require prior knowledge to use the platform, especially for farmers who are not 100% literate. And because of that, we are also providing a premium feature which allows them to do something called a Sustainability Readiness Index, which helps them to assess their risks, especially through their agricultural operation, and to provide a marketplace for them to turn a lot of their data and resources into one that can help them source for solutions and also to commercialize their sustainability products. For our paid subscription mostly for corporates and businesses, we provide a series of sustainability assessment across multiple data points and standards. That is to improve the data quality and to make audit-ready documentation for them to apply for government grants and other investment-related matters. And that allows them to also tap into our market intelligence databases, which allows them to look for more solutions, but also to look for more information they need to solve their problems. And I think the best part compared to them, to our competitors, is that we provide more efficient data monetization tools and strategies. And that includes from providing carbon credits from their projects, or to look for project financing opportunities for their own businesses. So in a way, the companies are well positioned to maximize their funding potential. Our latest update for our technical development is that we are, as a hardware and software agnostic platform, we integrate well with different IoT systems. So we are very relevant for the agri-tech sector because we actually aggregate and collect data from sensors, from IoT sensors from the agricultural and aquaculture side. And we aggregate it so that they can realize how to implement good farming practices or agricultural practices for their business. And this is one case study they have done for aquaculture company. And what we do is we help them measure and monitor their fish rearing operation. And this helps because it reduces the amount of resources they need, it reduces the amount of water and electricity they consume, but most importantly, it reduces the amount of carbon footprint per fish. So yes, so the total addressable market according to Bloomberg is about 30.7 trillion, according in that sense. But in Singapore, according to the Monetary Authority of Singapore and the Asian Development Bank, is about 1 trillion, so they fell short of 2.5 trillion worth of bonds they are collecting. So there is a huge market gap that we are addressing in this sector. And this is an industry where the average spending per user is about 150,000 to 200,000 per year, and where 50% of users still face the manpower and data shortage is easily solvable by our platform. And hence we do have a huge wide range of interested parties from the corporates down to the agri-tech companies. But for this session, we are primarily focusing on notable projects on the agri-tech side. So because of that wide range of clients that we have to address, we recognize the need to transform our business model from a subscription-based model to an omni-channel model. So as we realize that this knowledge gap in this sector, we realize that we need to provide a premium feature which allows them to learn how to be sustainable and to actually see the benefit from a commercial perspective. So we provide a marketplace for them to commercialize their technology, their products, and to see that the improvement in sustainability rating does improve their business revenue. And hence our go-to-market strategy currently as advice is to actually get as many clients, especially those who are new to sustainability, on board as a free user. And we convert them to paid users by helping them go through a series of training and workshops, which is also funded by the Institute of Adult Learning, who give us about $5,000 to actually kickstart this. And we are also working with a training company to provide workshops for sustainability financial professionals in universities such as SMU. But as we get more users on board and grow this vibrant ecosystem, it allows us to generate more revenue from our marketplace. So you see that the marketplace actually help to retain most of our subscription users and also generate more value for them. And as a result, compared to our competitors, we actually add more value because we are not just a data aggregation platform. We don't just provide data, but we also provide partnership and financing opportunities to help them scale their business on the sustainability aspects. And this is some of the projects they have done. We recently worked with a IoT company called Invictus to help them commercialize their water and electric sensors and also soil sensors as well to monitor in the Southeast Asian market, and also to help farmers get access to such rare technology that is needed in their sector. We're also working with corporates and non-profit organizations to better understand what sustainability is, and we're in the process of organizing a workshop for them in November to teach them how to use the tools on our platform. And this is the same for corporates in overseas as well. This is a company in Japan who is looking at ways to collect more good quality data for their investors to finance agri-tech project in Southeast Asia. But I think some of the impact that we brought is also significant. This is a UN endorsed organization, and we are currently helping them to raise about 1 million in funding for agri-tech projects. But I think what they do is that they help most of the farmers who are women entrepreneurs in the rural communities to do so. So, but this is the latest one, and we are proud to say that we co-fund with, we are applying for the Eco Fund to actually sponsor this. So we are helping to do something called a carbon decarbonization project for permaculture for farmers in Papua New Guinea and Sabah. So this will protect about 266,000 worth of forestry, but it also provide other revenue stream for farmers in terms of carbon trading and ecotourism. So the progress that we made with also other accelerators shows that this problem is not just a Singapore problem, it is an international problem, and we are confident of scaling this business globally as a result. And the progress that we made in terms of milestone is that we already launched the third version by the end of this month, and we recently acquired 2 patents from Nokia through the IP Hatch program, which is worth about 2 million worth of assets. So we are confident of improving also the cybersecurity of the sensitive information of our clients, because this is a very, I should say, a transparent industry, but such transparency requires assurance in cybersecurity. But we are also trying to get more traction and more businesses coming, and also add in more features to actually prove our value in that industry. But however, all this requires a huge amount of costs. So we are looking at 12 to 18 months funding to generate a consistent stream of revenue, or about 500,000 in business traction or funding. But most of it will be spent on getting more clients and also putting our technology on par with the latest competitors. So this is me. I'm the founder. Elroy is my co-founder and strategy head, and Yuri is our technology head. So we both have done projects in the US and the UK, and we are confident of scaling this business globally due to our international business experience. But so is our advisors. Jason was our legal advisor and helped us to understand the Japanese market. Kakuma helped us a lot in the UX and UI of our platform because he is a sustainability professional himself. Daryl helped us to deal with the clients in terms of especially the corporate side, because we recognize how big and how difficult it is to maneuver. And Kitson helped us a lot in the non-profit side, and recently he's helping us to actually link us with about 600 charities in Singapore in the next few months. So we are hoping that this will eventually work out. So in short, is that sustainability need not be complex and need not be costly as well. With us, we actually simplify it and make it profitable and valuable for businesses. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Michael. I'm interested to know, how your app help companies to produce, the sustainability reports, because these reports tend to be quite detailed, right? So, yes. Will your app be able to do such reports or generate such reports?
Yes, we can. Actually, we have an older deck where we show, if I can look at my appendix, what we do is that, if maybe I should use the presentation, still keep reading the presentation. So if you look at the paid feature, is that what we can do is that once we collect all the data from the wide range of data points, what happens is that we can start generating a sustainability report for them. But in terms of auditing, we have someone on board already to do all this auditing of the data and visualization, so as to create that sustainability report on the spot. Yeah. But I think Elroy, as my technology head, can also add on to your answers as well. Elroy, are you there?
Thank you. Yep, I'm here. Thank you, Michael. Hi, Dr. Lim. So that's a very good question. The good question is sustainability frameworks, there's a lot of it. It goes through different industries, right? So what's the key thing is it has to be practical. So that's why we start off with carbon profiling, because with carbon profiling, you can actually do something about it rather than, okay, great, I just got a report. What do I do next? Yeah, so that's actually where we went first. Of course, in the year 2022, we're gonna bring in GRI, SASB for the other sustainability frameworks as well. Yeah, but for right now, we're focused solely on practicality.
Thank you.
So my question to Micah and the team is, the data that you're going to use is all open, right? The methodology that you're going to use also will be all open. So what makes it difficult for somebody to replicate whatever you're doing here?
I think
that's actually a very good question. Yeah. So one key thing is, even right now in the industry, consultants are still using Excel sheets to get all these calculations done. Yeah, and for our carbon profiling, we're using GHG protocol. It's definitely a free framework. The problem is it's also in an Excel sheet. So what we do on our platform is we simplify it. So users just have to key in the key information, and our system in the back will just calculate it for you. You don't even need to do your own calculations. So that's one key thing that we're different. We have our own algorithms. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to challenge you on that, right? So what's so difficult from getting a coder to change an Excel to a, I don't know, a Tableau type of platform, right? So if that is your competitive advantage, which is converting a spreadsheet into something that is user-friendly, isn't that something that a typical coder would be able to do it? So somebody coming in and the next day they see, wow, great model, yeah, and they just replicate.
You can do it. However, and that's actually a very good question. I like the question. It's really challenging. However, the key thing isn't just replicating the code and making it into a code base. It's also for the user experience. That's one key thing. Another is we also have another data extraction platform whereby you input your documents in, and then our algorithm and our machine learning will take out this key data and put it into these calculators. That's one bit. Another bit is also we have a space where all these documents are verified based on machine learning so that they're audit ready. Yeah, so yeah, you can definitely copy our algorithm and stuff. I mean, it's open source. I'll be frank, it's open source, it's out there. But we have other supporting tools to make us competitive. And another thing is, by having free users on board, we build up our marketplace. So we have that community that other competitors find it much more difficult to replicate.
Yes, and to add on to what Elroy said is also that what you say for open source is actually more of scope 1 and scope 2 of carbon profiling, which is water and electricity. But scope 3 is the hardest because even for corporates, they're talking about small stakeholders and suppliers and etc. Those data are very hard to collect because they are mostly private data. And we actually know how to connect with them to actually collect those vital yet sensitive information.
Thank you.
Hi, Michael, Elroy. Could you elaborate a bit more on the project that you mentioned on the Papua New Guinea? What are your deliverables? What do you need to deliver to them?
That's a good question. So what happened was that we talked to a partner there who actually was looking for a digital solution that can automate the carbon profiling processes. So what we do is that we are also working with the farmers there to actually, more I should say, the traditional native farmers there to actually do some form biodiversity assessment and also permaculture evaluation of the project. So to see whether they can do a form of farming where they integrate with the natural habitats there. So by doing so is that one is that we protect the rainforest, we protect about 266,000 acres of it. And secondly is that we can also generate carbon credits and also offer other form of revenue like eco products and etc. out of it. So this would be an $800,000 project. We are co-funding it with the Eco Fund to see whether they can subsidize the cost of it. But we by doing all this, it's sustainable agriculture and natural protection and natural asset allocation. So we also determine the value of the forests in that region. And I think that would be the aim thing for the next few years as more farmers are also moving into there, not just in Southeast Asia, but also in South America and also in the European region, as they are also talking a lot about it.
So your role is to collect the data, and then you provide the using your analytics, you provide the carbon profile of whatever data inputs that you will collect. That is the responsibility of Trinity Eco in this project. Is that right?
Yes, we are the tech partner for
Yes.
this project.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we help them to sell. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The main problem that they had was getting a consultant to go down to Papua New Guinea to do all the checks. It's really time consuming. Yeah.
Understand. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, thank you, everyone. With that, we're going to move on to our last presentation for the evening. I'd like to invite Kok Leong, who's the founder of Agritech Food, to tell you his pitch. Kok Leong is our only participant today that is looking at aquaculture.
Thank you, Keith. Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Chin from the Tree Good Farm. Today I am sharing an idea of container, the aquaponics, that not only can we farm sustainable fish and plants production 365 days, but also be cost and space the efficient. We all know that growing food has always been a challenging business with the problems, and container, the aquaponics is about solving the constraint to change local community the access to fresh healthy food in neighborhoods. The aquaponics is a system of aquaculture to supply the nutrients for hydroponics, giving us sustainable fish and plants production that is the organic with minimum waste and the manpower. With a portable farm, you can control whether to grow the vertical or horizontal and easily scale up food production, the capability within a short time frame. Fish are raised in top containers where water will flow to the lower tanks where plants are grown, so that the waste from the fish provide nutrients for the plants, and the plants keep the water clean, flowing back to the fish, the container. All of us know there are always pros and cons of every farming method, and aquaponics can have the best of both worlds to traditional and smart farming. Container, the aquaponics is a plug and play to easily scale up food production, the capability within a short time frame. Plug and play is placing the farm where is the needed to cut down the trial and error to achieve balance, making the farm commercial, the viable. Is about solving the space constraint and produce a sustainable food source, reducing expensive the infrastructure and flexibility to be portable. Land is always a valuable resource with limited the tenure. The just thing, you can relocate the farm without stopping business. With 2 containers, the one for fish and one for plant, you can get 2 tons of fish and 2 tons of plants. From 2020, the data, there are plenty of market, the opportunity to be fulfilled in Singapore. You can scale up the containers according to demand and 10 times the food production if needed. Our production costs versus Malaysia and China need to be competitive. Being B2B and B2C the focus, we can serve local business with lower foot miles and be closer to the consumers with community farming. We can serve 50,000 the families if we plug and play the container in the Jurong, the district, serving them within a 5 kilometer the radius. Wet markets can direct order from the farm. We can let consumers the experience how their food is grown with more options for where they want to get their food from. Not only B2B and B2C, the aquaponics can be implemented into schools. Skills are easily transferable for food growers. Within the community, the 2 containers can serve 2 tons of fish and 2 tons of plants to the families. Based on meeting the production container, the aquaponics can break even in 2.5 years. In summary, with a portable farm, you can control whether to grow the vertical or horizontal and easily scale up the food production, the capability within a short time frame. We are looking for investors and partners to work with. Together, we can bring container, the aquaponics into the operation. Thank you for your kind attention, and we look forward to any question that you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kok Leong. I'll start first. I'm happy to note that the yield is quite high, right? I think you're talking about 2 tons per year for fish and vegetable, which is pretty impressive for a container. I'm just wondering, how did you get such such high yield, for your container?
This one is based on the calculating the space of the container, how much water that it should contain, and how can we avoid the fish being stressed while living in this space. Then based on the fish quantity, we will calculate the number of fish to the number of plants. This one is based on the 1 fish to 4 plants.
Okay, so you have this model, right? But so far there's no prototype yet, right?
Yes,
because,
correct.
Based on your concept, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Kok Leong. I like the stacking idea. My question is, which part of the system is actually quite proprietary to your company or yourself? In other words, which part it's self-developed and which part are you going to buy? And my second question is, have you done studies on where is the cost curve and where is the sweet spot for achieving economies of scale?
Thank you for the question. So for the first answer, we don't have proprietary to this method of the farming. The aquaponics have always been in the market for a very long time. So we are just building on the foundation of the aquaponics to change it to a farming method that is suitable for Singapore. And regarding the second question, I'm sorry, but can you repeat the second question?
Yeah, is there economies of scales if you start doing more of those containers, and what is that cost curve looks like as you ramp up production? Does your cost of production drop, and how much does it drop?
So actually, for the number of containers, we must make sure that we know that how much we are going to produce. But to make this the economical, we must hit a certain the production, which means that we should have at least 6 containers to hit the financial that we projected in this slide.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Kok Leong, for the presentation. I just want to ask if, in this concept or idea that you have you researched on whether there is a limitation to what type of crops and what type of fish that you can work with?
So actually, thank you for this question. So for this farming method, the limitation now is that we must use freshwater fish and as well as freshwater crops. So for the type of fish, there can be something like the jade perch, the tilapia, the freshwater prawns, and even the lobster. Means we may not have we may not have tried it before, but lobster can actually they are the freshwater type. And for the crops, because this is a hydroponic method, so actually most of the leafy crops can actually be grown in this method. So the number of crops will also be determined by the height of this crop. Means if so like for hydroponics, means it can't be used to plant durian trees. So this is an example.
Okay, thank you. I think another idea is crawfish. Maybe you can explore the possibility of that. Yeah, crawfish or crayfish.
Crayfish. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kok Leong. Thanks everybody. I'd like to give a big shout out and a thank you to all the judges. We'll now give the judges some time to fill up their judging forms and put in some of their last minute comments. But right now, I'd like to invite the main mastermind and the main driving force behind this entire innovation program. Leslie will give you an update of what's going to happen in the years to come. And if you're interested to join us, how can you actually get in touch with us and be a part of this program? So Leslie, over to you.
Thanks, Keith. I can't claim to be the mastermind when I have very good collaborators like you and Anton together to work on this program. So I'm very appreciative of that. Let me just quickly share my screen. I noted that I am just between the results and also the consolidation of scores. So I will be mindful of time. Okay, very quick one. Is my screen okay? Is it okay?
You should flip. We are looking at your present, not the full screen. We are looking at your presenter view.
Oh, yes. Let's see how to do that. Oh, dear.
It's under display settings. Right at the top.
Okay. Okay, Ken. Thanks so much. As mentioned earlier, I'm very appreciative of the support from Trendlines, right, and also for Enterprise Singapore for actually being a matchmaker, actually, to connect both of us, right, to work on this collaboration opportunity together, right. I thought it's useful to also share a bit more with you with regards to what the participants have went through, right, and also a little bit in terms of what you expect is to come, right, in light of today's the grand finale, right, of the whole program. When we sat down to conceive, right, this whole program, we had several outcomes in mind as we were thinking through in terms of what would truly benefit the RP community, right? And we say RP community as a whole, we are referring to not only our PT students, right, but also our CT students, which are adult learners, as well as our alumni as well. In fact, many of the teams this evening are actually from our alumni group, and as we hear their presentations, I'm so happy to be connected, right, with all of them, right, as part of this whole overall program that we are doing. In this whole program that we have started, right, some of the key outcomes in mind that we had, right, would include things like, we want to see participants being equipped with the knowledge, skills, as well as network and resources to successfully start their agri-food business, right? We want to support early stage agri-food startups as well through go-to-market strategies. In fact, that's where Trendline's strength lies in, because they're able to not only provide the investment opportunity as well, but also they're able to bring their product to the market, right? And as well as co-innovating agri-food solutions together with the industry to address specific sector-specific challenges. So that's why you may find that in this whole program design, you will find not only in terms of workshop sessions, in fact, I would consider workshop sessions as the ones that not only raise awareness, open up minds, right, but also at the same time connecting, right, with different groups of stakeholders in the ecosystem, such as, we have your startup founders, right, you have your other VCs as well, as part of this whole overall program. Then following which, I think that's where we actually met up with all the participants, right, one-on-one to do in terms of mentor matching, right, and that's where we also connected them, right, to other stakeholders in the whole industry. So as we connected the dots one by one, right, that's where the participants also grew in confidence as they refine their idea and gain resources to speak to different people that can support them as part of their overall learning process, right? And I think that's where we are at here in terms of stage 3, which is the demo day, which we're very proud of every single team that presented today, right? And following which, I think that's where we want to empower them, right, to actually explore the post-program progression pathways, be it through, right, starting your own business. In fact, for some of the teams today, when they came on board the program, they actually were still only, right, like hatching, right, their ideas. But as they went through the different stages, I think that's where they were able, right, to incorporate, right, and as what you heard from some of them just now, that's where they are able to, look for partners, right, look for markets, so on and so forth as part of that. And we are also very excited to also help the participants, support the participants as well to progress towards Trendlines 3i program, and also with the possibility of applying for the Startup SG Founder Grant as well, given Trendlines is also AMP mentor, right, as part of this whole overall program structure. So these are some key highlights that I thought it's good to share, right? We have workshop sessions, and you may actually hear from the previous presenters is that many of these workshop sessions are actually held, right, on Friday evenings, right? And I remember, for many of the sessions, the attendance, when we take attendance, right, for each session, attendance is usually close to 100%, right? I can't say always 100%, but close to 100% for all the sessions that we conducted. In fact, many of the teams that met us for the mentorship sessions, many of them actually met us like, in the evenings, like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., those kind of timings, because they're holding day jobs. And we are so proud of them that they're able to make it through, right? From the start to today's grand finale, right? For the whole sessions, right? I think someone is queuing me to stop already. But let me just say a few words to our participating teams, right? To the 6 teams to be exact. So regardless who the award winners are, right? To me, each one of them are already a winner, right? Through their hard work and dedication, right? As we can clearly see in both the workshop sessions as well as the mentorship programs, right? And as we progress, and or rather as we conclude, right, this chapter, right, I also know that many of them are very excited to move on to the next phase already, in terms of really bringing a product to the market and also growing their businesses. Let me end by sharing a quote from Thomas Edison, who is an American inventor, right? He's an entrepreneur himself, who had developed many great inventions, right? In different fields, from electric power, mass comm, sound recording, so on and so forth. Thomas Edison said this long time ago: "I never did anything worth doing by accident, nor did any of my inventions come in directly through accident. No, when I fully decided that a result is worth getting, I go about it and make trial after trial until it comes." I say the last sentence again: I go about it and make trial after trial until it comes. So as we conclude this 5-month program this evening, I wish all the participants all the best in your entrepreneurship journey, right? To not give up, right? To go about it trial after trial until it comes, right? To stay connected, right? And to know that together with Trendlines as an RP, right? We are the community to be there to journey alongside with you, right? As you embark on your exciting journey ahead. So thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing the results. Over to you, Keith.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much for your sharing. Okay, before we have already tabulated the results, but before we actually go there, what I want to do is that I want to give the judges some time to give their overall comments on, how you felt all these companies were, or just a general comment before we get Anton to actually announce the 2 winners that we have for today.
Okay, maybe I'll start. I think well done, everyone. I think I echo what Leslie has mentioned. I'm really impressed by the high quality pitches that you guys have actually put up. And also, beyond increasing the food production to help Singapore to achieve the 30 by 30 goal, I'm also happy to note that there is a strong focus on sustainability practices, right? And also on the circular economy. So well done, and all the best to all the teams. Thank you.
I was impressed by the scope of the projects that have been presented. Also in ESG, we actually paint out the value chain. So we start off with the inputs, and then you got the systems, and then we got the growers, followed by the grower plus. So these are the farms with a bit of additional value add. And then finally, you got the food manufacturing, right? So farm to fork, right? And today we actually saw the full suite of companies across the value chain. Biophilic in the input space, Trinity Echo in the system space, Kerr in the grower space for snails, Agritech Food in the grower plus using the container farming, and then the 2 cricket farms, Ultimate Nutrition and AIFS. So I thought that was a very interesting insight to see that the space is well covered by the participants from this program. My suggestion would be that you will want to consider how to make a stronger connection between your unique selling point and the competitive advantage that you have, right? So the unique selling point to your consumers, whether it's the business or end customers, and what is it that makes you different in the back end, right? That is very difficult for your competitors to replicate. So I thought that would be a useful question to think about in that stage 4 after this process. Well done, everyone.
Yeah, thanks Bunwan, thanks Eugene for availing your time participation in this as judges and your valuable inputs. I believe that will help a lot the startup founders. And I also have the privilege of seeing how the teams or the individuals, you know, progress from 4 months ago until today throughout the program. Yeah, I think it's a lot of hard work, a lot of time thinking, reprocessing, and you know, trying to tune the ideas. So again, congratulations. Like what Leslie said, there are winners and yet to be winners. Okay, so don't give up and continue to push and make your ideas happen. Okay, so now we will announce the two winners, which I myself still do not know, but Keith will pop up the names of the slide of the two winners, and they will be getting a support package from Trendlines, each worth 15,000 Sing. And we actually wanted, if this is to be a physical, we wanted to actually pass, you know, the key to the office to them on site. And but alas, it cannot happen, right? But anyway, we will use the slide to announce the winners. And yep, the winners are Ultimate Nutrition and the Shell Company. Congratulations to the founders of Ultimate Nutrition and the Shell Company. In no particular order, these are the top two winners. So congratulations. Okay, and yeah, we will reach out to you very soon after this, you know, to talk about the incubation program that we will onboard both of your companies in Trendlines. So congratulations, and thank you for the audience. And Keith, you want to end this?
Yeah, I think before we go, I just want to let everyone know that these are some of the partners that we have worked with. It's really not possible for RP or Trendlines to run any of this program without the help of you know, different startups and even different accelerators, or in this case, venture capital. I think if you're new to the agriculture scene or the agri-tech you know, ecosystem in Singapore, you realize that it's a very close-knit ecosystem. There are very few players, but we are all very closely related. And the market is big enough that even if you have similar offerings or similar technologies, we are not here to compete. We're here to build this ecosystem together. The ecosystem in Singapore is still in its infancy stage, and we really want to welcome everybody to come and be a part of this ecosystem. So if you know, you're an investor or a startup, or you're just looking to collaborate, please feel free to reach out to us. Investors, you can talk to Anton. Anton will be able to give you an overview of what the investment scene looks like in Singapore. If you're a startup, you know, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to guide you through the different regulatory processes, the different grants that you can apply for. And if you're just looking for collaborations with IHL, you know, we strongly suggest you reach out to Leslie. Leslie really is sort of the glue that works between all the different faculties within RP. And he'll be able to get you to the right people with the right expertise and the right knowledge. So I think there's really something for everyone here, and we look forward to hearing a lot more from you guys. So, you know, this is like, I think like Leslie said, this is really not the end of a program. This is the start. And this is an invitation to all startups or aspiring founders out there, or investors, or whoever you might be, right, to join the ecosystem. So feel free to reach out to us. And with that, we thank you for having stayed with us to the end of this program. We're extremely excited that you have joined us. It's been a while since we have had you know, a demo day with so many participants, and we are extremely excited. So once again, thank you everybody. Thank you to all our judges. Thank you to our presenters. It's been a great day to spend this evening with you guys. Thank you all very much.